Today we're going to take a look at a piece submitted by Lanisha McKenzie that's entitled COVID-19. We're going to look at the different developmental stages, and then we are going to take a more detailed look at the final composition to see how successful it was and what are some of the things that needs to be done to improve this composition further. As we take a look at the initial sketch for the composition, this has always been a sore point with me. Whenever I ask students to submit the pictures of their different stages, I always say take the time to edit the picture. And here you can see, to me, we know that the sketches that you submit or the pictures that you submit will be used for the virtual exhibition, and we cannot put up something like this, or I will not put up something like this in the virtual exhibition. All you have to do is to come to your software, just like I'm doing now. Come there, you click on the crop element, and then you just edit like I'm doing now. And once you edit like this, we're just going to save it instead of save as a copy. And right away you see the difference in terms of presentation. It is that simple. So I'm saying to you, these are the little steps that I would advise you, and I would have emphasized this in the assignment. And it's not difficult. So I don't want to see this in future submissions, because if I do, it is going to be a clear indication that you're not adhering to advice that I know it's good in a sense, because I'm saying to you that it's going to be used for a virtual exhibition, and therefore you should not present work like that. So in future, I'm going to subtract mark if you submit stuff like that. Okay, so that we're on the same page and we understand each other. We move to the second stage, and what I'm noticing here when I look at the first composition, I notice we have two globes or spherical shapes. Well, the globes, because I can see that the continent's there. But in this one, you kind of change your mind. Pretty interesting. And here I'm seeing the development of the ideas. I can see where you are introducing the syringe, which is an integral part. I think I would have mentioned this in a previous student work. I would have assessed, and I said that the syringe is an integral part of the vaccination process, and it should have been in that composition. I'm happy to see that you would have included that. And then we come to the final stage. So this is the final copy. I can see you have your complementary called the scheme happening there, which really adds to the composition itself. Here again, you see what's happening there. You have some stuff peeping through there. You're gonna have to crop that out. It takes away from it. So when you're taking a photograph, pay attention to those little things. And I'm only pointing these out because it's important. We don't want to have stuff like that in the virtual exhibition. And when you're giving viewers an opportunity to view your work, you don't want distraction. Your attention must be on the work and the message that you want them to gather from the work. These little things take away from it. But it's pretty interesting. I like the dynamics of the composition in terms of the diagonal flow of the syringe there. It adds to movement. And then if we follow what's happening here, this spherical thing of the globe really adds to that rhythm of the composition, as we can see with these little shapes like things that are top here, that you have here, that represents the virus. I like the way you have that rhythm going with the way you use the yellow to the edge. Now you have that interesting contrast, and if we look at it, you've done a good job to have, if you look at the brush stroke here, there's nothing that's too predictable. As you get to each one is different, and those contrasting things really adds to the dynamics of the composition, because your composition is not, it's not a complicated one, but little things like these, and I want to commend you on that. The way you treat the contour of these shapes and the fact that we don't get that sense that it's the same strength of the brush, the same thickness and the same flow of the line, because you can see here you have nothing on this side, but in this one here you have this entire thing covered with the yellow, and that adds to the interest in the composition. So that's commendable. That's pretty good. It's good to see you using different types of blues values in terms of the blues that you have in the composition to really bring the focus. The dark value in the background really allows the light one on the globe shape to really stand out and to become more in focus. And essentially, of course, we know we're dealing with a virus, so the virus becomes a thing that is the major focus of the composition. And I really like the way you would have deliberately worked your value contrast in your colors to really bring that out in the work. I'm not sure where the syringe ended, but again, because it's such an integral part of the composition, it looks like it's in the middle of the composition, and the virus seems to be more like there. So I'm thinking if you were to bring down the actual needle, the syringe there, the needle that is in the syringe, and you'd have brought it somewhere here, so it passed through here, you would have created some more spatial relationship in the composition. It could have done a little bit more to make it a little more interesting. By leaving it here, it creates that kind of a flat feeling, whereas if you had gone and you would have passed the white through and we would have seen that white of the syringe passing over here and then it comes into there, then we would have had another dimension in terms of the spatial relationship in your composition. So you would have the background with the dark blue, you have the coronavirus symbol, and then you have the syringe there that is further in a different spatial position in the composition. So I thought that's something that you can think about, and I think you could probably go back and put it in and see if it works, if it makes sense. And if you don't like what you see, you can just paint it out. But I personally feel that if you take this and you bring this down, it's going to create more interest, and it's going to make a little more it's going to add to the spatial relationship in the object, rather than making it feel like so you're basically on one plane. If you do that, you're going to create that illusion of the needle being in front, or at least in front of this part of the globe, and this part of the globe being in the foreground. So when you're looking at space, these things are important when you're taking into consideration composition. So that's something that you can look at for the final piece. I'm not sure what these circular things are representing, and I'm not sure how much thought that you would have put into it. But usually when I see these kind of things, because it's just like they're just there. And again, I stand corrected. What's the purpose of those things? And what are they saying? And are they contributing to the composition? Questions that you have to ask yourself. Because if you go back here and we look at that, and then we look at this, by adding these circular snow-like kind of thing in the background, did they really enhance the composition and enhance the message that you're sending, or did they take away? It's a question that you're going to have to contemplate and see whether it works for you or not. But based on previous works that you would have done, I like the start that you would have had for this semester, and I hope that you continue to put in the requisite work, research, reading, and practice, deliberate practice, that is, work on those weak areas that you have. When videos are sent, ensure that you study the information that is there, because if you continue to do that, the quality of your work is going to improve, and it's going to improve greatly. So I want to commend you for this piece of work. It's a good start, and I look forward to see what else you're going to produce for the rest of the semester. So thank you for sharing.